Okay, YouTube, this is Mickey D, and this is take 2 of episode 35 of Stationeers. If you were watching the other stream before I deleted it out, um, I guess the last Windows update uh, decided to mess with my audio setup, and OBS thought I did not have a mic and was running on the wrong speakers. So, uh, everybody should be able to hear me now. I guess that should teach me to pay more attention to the OBS screen because I do have it open in front of me on my other monitor. I just wasn't realizing the mic and audio was not registering. I did make sure my mic was unmuted. Unfortunately, it wasn't transmitting any sound. So, yeah. Okay, so to recap the last 15 minutes or so that I recorded that is now gone. Um, Still in the beta branch, and we're in the middle of an autosave now. Few bug fixes that they've done. Logic computers are still broken. The goal of this episode is probably put some logic chips in to automate the temperature control in the greenhouse, and hopefully, because right now I'm manually controlling it. So anytime I'm in the game, I'm basically running around, and I mean the plans are doing decent, but we're kind of getting up there. I'm still going to work on the cooling systems a little bit. It does work. It's just not working all that great. Uh, so we need some more passive coolers and whatnot in there. And it's also probably because we don't have a lot of pressure either. So I made up a mess of logic chips. I found a couple of good kind of setups online. I found a really decent one that actually has a buffer range for the heating and cooling. And I kind of gave it a quick glance over, and honestly, I should probably have it pulled up so I can refer to it. But I'm just going to try to build it myself, and we'll go from there. I mean, it should be readers, writers, logic to compare, memory to set the temperature range, and basically tell it to either do heating and cooling. Now, the main issue we're going to run into in setting it up is we don't really have much space in here, unfortunately. And my thought is either to put it under the floor in here. This should be sealed if we open it up. Obviously, we're going to drop a little bit of pressure because we're opening up 2 blocks, so it's going to fill those. But this should be all sealed to the ground, so we shouldn't vent out into space. If I remember correctly, there's no giant holes underneath this or anything. I mean, I would want to open up one on the edge, but I think as long as we're down here, so we've potentially got 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks to fill stuff up in, so we should be all right. My other thought is to do something on, as long as we have the top, and I'm going to call this the east and the west wall, then we should be fine. So we could actually push out and put a room in there if we want. But I think for now we're just going to try to go through the floor and call that good. So hopefully, and just in case, I'm going to do an autosave. And we'll jump over to here. Now there has been a few... they've done a few little patches since it's been a couple days since the last stream, and you can now pull information off the canisters. So the data portal knows we'll actually now pull temperature and pressure that is inside. That's for the tank inside of it. And we shouldn't, see we're sealed up, so we should be good. The only problem is we're probably going to have to dig this out a little bit because we can't see the bottom of these to put stuff in. And I think we're probably just going to go ahead and pull up 3. And hopefully we will try this. And, you know what? I don't have the drill on me. I wasn't planning on digging. All right, so we'll go grab the drill. We'll go ahead and leave these plates in here because we're going to need them to put the floor back together anyway. So yeah, they did some little bug fixes. Um, what did they do? They some stuff with water. The logic computers are still broken, and really I wanted to use a computer for this because it's a matter of temperature and then greater than uh, you know 35 degrees Celsius and or whatever, and cool and shut off the heater, and if it's less than you know 30, then run the heater and shut off the air conditioner, basically. And if it's in between that range, then shut them both off. Um, but so we're going to try this with logic computers instead. And let's get this pressurized so we can get back out into the main base. And there is a confirmed bug with the tanks as well, which if you've followed the streams, then you've seen that with the big kind of round tanks, which are not really labeled big tanks, but they are the biggest tanks in the game currently. I'm assuming they must be a bigger tank coming because those are labeled as a small tank. And they did update these that now they actually read MPA, so kind of makes it a little bit nicer to read. It's not 11,000 something. Mining belt. All right, let's go get that dug out a little bit. I'm hoping we should have enough wiring on us to get this done. And actually, I could vent this out into... I'm going to let this mix out into the greenhouse because the greenhouse is a little warm. So, and the system is set up that it does, it pulls all the O2 out of the room. So, that way if we generate any from the greenhouse, it immediately goes into the base storage for use. So, but it does have the benefit of the base is cooler, so it does cool off the base when pumping the oxygen in, letting it mix, and then it pulls out the oxygen because it'll pull out some of the heat with it. All right, so let's get the bottom of these exposed, and then we might try to run them along that floor back there. I think maybe we'll try doing that because we can use both sides. And we're going to go ahead and turn our light on. And I just want to make sure we don't go too low. I don't think we shouldn't expose anything. I mean, last thing I want to do is vent out all the CO2 because that'll just kill off the greenhouse, and then it'll take forever to, get enough to probably get this going again. I mean, as it is, we're not getting a lot of pressure. In hindsight, I probably should have started off with a maybe slightly smaller greenhouse. But we'll build up more CO2 as time goes on, and hopefully they'll add some source of. I mean, with the oxides, I don't see why we should be able to get greenhouse, or we should be able to get CO2 out of it. I mean, hell, on Mars, you can get CO2 right off the ground. It'll freeze solid at night. Okay, I think we're going to call this good down here. And yeah, it'll probably be pretty good. We're pretty much clear, so we should be able to... I know, now I'm being a little picky on it. And somebody comment, I assume you can hear me okay, just to make sure OBS is reading it is, but I would like a confirmation that everything is coming through now. And okay, and we'll just throw the mining belt down there. All right, so we got to put an oxygen sensor in somewhere. We'll probably just stick it right on that wall, and then we can pull right down off of it. And grab right there. Or I guess I should say a gas sensor. And do we want to maybe... no, we can just stick it down there. So then we don't need the other one now. And we're going to need some wiring too. We should probably keep that in the other hand. All right, so we need, and I think we're going to just go with them for the most part of just connecting everything together for the logic chips and whatnot. And we also need to tie in, oh, you know what we could do? All right, change of plans. We're going to put the, we'll put the gas sensor up there because we have to tie into the heater and the cooler anyway, which means we are going to have to run a lot. They might be connected onto the same grid. We'll test that out. Yeah. All right. Let's. So we'll run straight up. And of course, now my battery's deciding to go low. Which is it still still up? I'm gonna say we could probably turn off the light for a while, but. All right, so we want to put, let's get this out of our inventory because it's being in the way. So yeah, we can put that up there. And that will make it a bit easier to have everything tied in together. And our temperature's dropping now, which I think we're still all right. If I remember correctly, the greenhouse prefers somewhere between 30 and 50 degrees Celsius. So we don't really want it to drop too much lower. And usually when and I don't know if they've changed anything. I know in the beta branch they changed the wall heaters now use quite a bit more power. I think they use about 1,000 watts if I remember correctly, which seems, that's basically two solar panels worth to run it. That's kind of high, I would think, but I could be also remembering wrong. All right, so we need, let's see, we need memory. We are going to need memory on here. Definitely, we're going to need to set a value, and I think what we'll do is we'll just set it off to the side because we can just run one into it. We don't need to pass through. And really, we're going to set that, and if I remember correctly, that has to be set in Kelvin. So it's 273 plus that, so 293. No, we want higher than that because we're doing the greenhouse. So 303 Kelvin. I could be wrong on that. We'll see. And I think we only need one memory. I think we can refer both of them to it. So we're gonna need a reader because we're gonna need to pull off of the let's see. We want this. And we'll do that. In and out. Oh, this does have an in and out. Okay, so we'll turn it. We're gonna need to pull off the so we can pull off the gas sensor with this, and then we're gonna need we definitely need a writer because then we're gonna have to write to the furnace. Actually, we need a before I think about it, we need yeah, we do need a writer. Reader, where's the oh, we need where's the math? We're gonna need that as well. And then yes, we're gonna need unary logic min max. Oh, I wonder if we can do min max. Compare. We need to compare. And we're gonna run. All right, so we need, let's go ahead and wire some of this up so we can get this up and running. Yeah, we're gonna want one there. And obviously we'll get it started and then go from there. Now I could just cheat and use the guide I saw, but I kind of like figuring it out myself. we get really stumped, then we can use that. And you know what? For now, I'm just going to put 4 ways in all of this because we're probably going to be adding more chips in here, and I don't want to have to worry about it for now. And we can change it out. We got, well, okay, we don't really have enough wiring, but we can change some of them out. Okay, so we need to read, for one, we need to read the gas, and we're probably going to have a ton of stuff in here too. Oh, this is where the labeler is going to come in handy. Because we need to label this one. We don't want to grab the wrong one. So we're going to call it greenhouse gas sensor. And we got an autosave. Gas sensor. Okay. Confirm. And turn that off. Put that back. No, I want the flat. Thank you. All right. So we want to read. And this is where I'd really like this to be a drop down, you know, with the mouse. You know, just because this takes forever. Especially since I don't really want to miss it. Come on. Transformer, glass door. Yeah, see, this is... And at some point, we're going to have to go through and separate the stuff out in the base, because most of the stuff in the base is pretty much on the same network. So it's going to see quite a bit of stuff on here. Pressure. See, now we're up at the stuff at the other end of the base. Oh, okay. Logic reader gas. All right. And we want to read temperature. Very nice. And the memory, we want to set it to... let's say 2... 90, 30. We probably want to set it to 301. 300 and something. We'll set it up to 20. Yeah, I should have just set it to like 300. Yeah, which would have been faster than the other one, but oh well. Let's see, we don't need to turn that one on. We can go ahead and turn the reader on. So, which it does read. Now that almost looks like it's reading the KPA. That looks like that's reading the pressure. Did I? Oh, change the temperature. Okay, there we go. So yeah, 313. That's not bad. Yeah, it's about where we want it. All right, let's up this a little bit more then. So, yeah, we can say 313. That's what we'll aim for, is 40 degrees Celsius. And so now, logic reader. Oh, did we not put a writer in? We did not put a writer in. All right, we're going to change this to a writer. Screwdriver. Yeah. And not compare, not unitary. 3. I just fell through the ground, didn't it? Yes. See, that's going to be like Space Engineers. Rotors explode, Stationeers is going to be things fall through the ground. All right. Which is why I usually try not to drop stuff on the ground. Okay. this. Oh, where the. Okay, screwdriver. And now we're gonna have to label the. Yeah. All right, so let's label the wall heater. And I really wish that when you clicked, it just didn't paste in what the last thing you typed was, because I only wanted to change the first 2 letters. But hopefully that's something they'll potentially change. And since we're already up here naming stuff, let's go ahead and name the cooler too, because obviously we're going to need to do that. All right. And I think we're all set on naming stuff for now. The device is not turned on. It is turned on. Oh, that's not turned on. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we want to compare the logic memory to the logic reader. And we're going to name that. Yeah, we should name these otherwise. Greenhouse temp reader. And we will name this greenhouse heater. Writer. And we will name this greenhouse temp compare. All right, I think that'll get us started. Memory. All right. So, and we're gonna need we're gonna change the wiring a little bit, because we're gonna need a little bit more wiring, since we kind of wasted a little bit too much of it. I'm gonna say don't fall through the ground. I've had enough of that happening today. All right, so not a 3-way corner. We just need a regular corner. All right, we're gonna stick that up there. Rotate around. And we do need that to tie in, so we need a junction there. Yeah, so I did make a suggestion on the forums earlier. It'd be nice to see, oh shoot, we're already out. All right, so we're gonna change this one. It would be nice to see, since the whole, kind of purpose of the kind of setup or premise of the game is that, it's supposed to be kind of hardcore, it's not a casual game. It's supposed to be complex systems. So, and it was partially concerning the broken logic chips and stuff, but still not enough. I should just go make more wiring. This really? How did that only give me back? Really? A 4-way and a junction are both 2 wires? Okay. All right. Obviously, we got to go make some more wiring, because we're not going to save anything then by, if these are all, yeah, if these are all, well, actually, we can put a corner here. We might be all right. All right, that gave us, oh, yeah, we're still short a piece. All right. Yeah, we'll have to go make some wiring real quick. Which, thankfully, wiring is one of those things that does not take I should have just done that from the start, because now we'll probably have to change some of those out when we expand it, which is, I was trying to save time, but actually, since we're going back, we'll go ahead and put our mining belt back. Last thing I would do is want that to fall through the floor. Though we are set up, we can make some more. And I'll go ahead and change my battery while I'm out there. Yeah, anyway, so suggestion in the forums was that, they add a workbench or something that we can, like, make circuit boards at, and then you can place them, so it's like the size of, finish size. When you pull it off, it's the size of like one of the chips, because, people are basically saying that logic chips and stuff, while are nice, if you try to do anything, more than just like solar panels on off, then, it's going to take a ton of space. And then somebody was calculating for the greenhouse setup that they had thought of, was like 32 chips to, do the temperature, so heating, cooling with a buffer, and to monitor the oxygen, you know, carbon dioxide ratio, pressure in the room, and adjust that. So it was pretty much everything. They wanted to have it all controlled, which is, the point we'll get to too. I don't really feel like putting in 32 chips right now. But that was the point, is that, if you have 32 chips, that's going to take up quite a bit of space. All right. So, so my suggestion is why don't really, I had to do the one spot that had something in it. Why not make like a workbench or something like that, that we can, basically have, make it like a circuit board workbench or something. And you can basically make your circuit boards with, put your chips on it, run your wiring, basically in a kind of micro level. And then once it's done, you can pull the circuit board off of the off the workbench, and then place that in the world, and basically have it be like just a small box, or kind of like how the logic chips are now. And then it would have all your, depending on how you set it up, it would have the inputs and outputs on it and whatnot. So it seemed like, something that would fit in. I mean, obviously, people could get really in depth with it, if the game supported it. And, it would add another level, kind of like a useful level of complexity to the game, while adding a lot of potential to do stuff. Whether or not the devs actually see the post and, like it, I would imagine it could be probably kind of complicated to set up on their end, coding wise. But it seems like it would be something quite useful. Definitely have the potential. And then that way we could, and maybe the more components you have, that you place in the board that you make, like it will adjust the power draw and whatnot needed. So that, it would still stay balanced game wise. And obviously you're going to have to, put the components into it resource wise and stuff. And, if it's limited to, a certain, like, you can only put so many chips on the circuit board, or so many parts on it or something, then that's reasonable. If you're going to have a huge system and you have to build a couple of them, then, oh, look, hey, there's a wire. Yeah, there is a data connection there. Then, I think that would be reasonable in the game. I mean, obviously you're not gonna want to make it would not be balanced to have you know something like this that you could basically program to do like every single thing in your base. So but be able to put a decent size, like nine parts on it or something, like chips, and then be able to wire them up. So that might work. And then maybe you could have more expensive computer boards that you can put more parts on, but it would still scale up because obviously you'd have to build the resources to go inside of them, still like the chips and whatnot. I don't know. I think it maybe has some potential, but who knows? We'll see. And where were we? So we're reading the temperature. We're outputting to the heater, and we got an autosave. So, all right, autosave. And we don't want to wait. Temperature reader, yes. And then out. Oh, now I'm confused here. Out variable. Wow, out should go to. Oh, can we go backwards? Probably not, right? No. Oh, we just passed it too. That's what I didn't want to do. It would be the one where the first time you click on it, it shows up. So cooler. Oh, I just passed it again, didn't I? Luckily, this one's not showing up a ton of stuff. Oh no, that's wall heater. We need the greenhouse wall heater. Yeah, good thing I named it, because otherwise I would show up quite a few of them. Come on. Yeah, we'll definitely have to start at some point, go through on the base and kind of isolate some of the systems. It wouldn't hurt to have the greenhouse kind of, each area, maybe the furnace room on its own circuit. Obviously we're going to run more wiring, and I'm hoping at some point maybe we'll get like either color coded or cable bundles or something so that we can break off and use say that blue is the furnace, and then or the furnace room, and it won't. There we go, wall heater. And then this one, which we can go ahead and turn these on to. Yeah, I know you're not completely set up yet. So we want to compare the temperature reader to the memory. And did we name that? Okay, but I'm pretty sure that's the only memory. And compare is less than, let's say less than. Oh wait, do we need another memory? It's less than. What am I missing on this? Oh, we don't want to go out. Oh, less than. Okay. So if the reader is less than gas pressure sensor. That is the gas pressure sensor. Yes. So if this is less than the memory, which is set to 313, then we want to turn the furnace on. And we want to say less, yeah. Is there a less than, or is it just less? I guess it's just less. Okay. And Reader, change lock to a wall heater. Oh wait, what did I? What? Okay, I'm missing something on here. Change writer. Change on for wall heater. Yes. And we should be able to test that if we say, nope, we've still got, okay, what am I not got set up right? This is where I knew this was going to get interesting because I know I'm missing something here. Memory, logic reader, compare. I think I still need another. So we're pulling temperature off of there, which is reading that. The logic reader should be reading the temperature, which obviously it is because it's showing up right there. That is, and that is reading to there. It's input from the temperature reader, which is fine. And really, I wish they'd make it so you can just pull right off of there. Temperature reader. Case writer. Change on. Yeah, we don't want to change. Yeah, we don't want lock. Okay, we want on. I did that once before on when I was doing, I think, the solars. So heater on, and then that's going to go out to the heater. Yes, and then the compare is temperature. The temperature reader is less than the logic memory. Oh, which is, we want it, what are we at? 413. So that should be, obviously I've got something off on here. What do we got off? It's writing to the heater. It's getting the input from there. Oh, wait a minute. No, we want the input from the compare. There we go. And there, now it's working. Okay. Yes. So, yeah. So reading from the gas, we're reading the temperature from there. It's going into there. We've got a set temperature, which is obviously not going to stay that high. And it's actually climbing up pretty fast. So we should turn that back down. So there we go. So now the greenhouse should not drop below 30 degrees. And it kicked back off. So working. Now basically we need another compare, and I think that's all we have to do. We just need another compare and another writer, I believe, and we should just be able to set another compare to be less than no, we're going to want another one. So we're going to want to set up another memory, and we're going to rename this memory. Because we're going to want, that'll give us our upper range and our lower range. And then that'll give us a buffer automatically. And I think that should be it. Because I don't see a reason to have, like the one system I looked at, it had a, adjustable dial, as long as the greenhouse is within the range, it's not like we have to adjust, it's not like I'm going to get hot in the game and I have to turn it down all of a sudden. So either it's, at the correct level or it's not. So it should, or correct range or it's not. So it should automatically adjust it. All right, so we're going to need another, and we'll set it up on this side because this is the side where the cooler is. And I do believe we'll have to make sure we can read that because that is coming in on a different system. So we might have the potential where I might have to go out and place a block out there so I can remove this one to tie up into the wiring. But we'll find out here in a minute. Let's see. So we need some memory. And we'll throw it. And I guess we can stick it down there. And we're going to need another writer. This one, maybe? Writer, yes. Okay, and we should do another writer. And is that, we've got to compare, so compare that to that. I think we need another compare unit as well. And we're going to tell it, yes. Is that how we want to run that? Probably going to pull up that other one and move it. Because I think it's probably not the best spot to have that. And don't, okay, good. I was like, don't fall through the ground. Yeah, we can stick it up there. All right, that should be able to tie everything in. So, put that there. Oh, why is that not? Oh, there's a, okay, we gotta just change that one. Oh, we wanted that to be a junction. Not a 6-way, 4-way. All right, and that can run this way. So this will get, yeah, which we're actually getting quite warm in here now. So I want to kind of get this. Thank you. All right, there. I'll go ahead and change that one. And then we're going to need to pull up some of this wiring so we can tie in. This is why I wanted to run all the 4 ways earlier, so that we didn't have to pull stuff back up, but that's all right. And can we get that one behind the wall? Yes, and we can change that one as well. So we need to rotate that around. And a 4-way. Okay, so we don't need one, actually we don't need, oh we do, we need a corner there. Going the other way. Okay, we need one there. And we need one coming around here. And then we can just put a 4-way here. And I think oh, we need another corner. All right, so that should, and oh, we do need, oh no, wait a minute, there's not one there, is there? No, it didn't show one. Is there not one there? I thought there was, oh nope, okay, all right, so we're good then. All right, so now for this one, we want to compare. Oh, let's label this. Otherwise, we're gonna have 2 things labeled memory. Yep. So we'll name this greenhouse. Greenhouse. AC memory. All right, and we're gonna name this. Oh, we didn't want a reader. We want a writer there. Yes, we've already read this stuff. We can pull off of the other ones. Yes, writer. I think it's actually the same chip. I think we just changed, we just changed to the other version. Okay, so we want to set this to, first of all, we need our screwdriver. So basically the same thing. We want it, well, we want a little bit higher. So that's 313, so we'll change this to 3, what is it reading right now? It is reading, it is 322. So we're going to set it to like 320, I think. Oh, other way. So 320. And then that'll give us a range that's higher than that. So the furnace should kick off, and then if it gets too warm, the AC will kick in. Which we should be able to test here anyway, because it's already, and autosave. It's already warm, so it's going to be above that temperature. And then we are going to compare AC memory and the temp reader. And then this is going to be, if it's greater than, so we'll turn that on. And then this is going to, oh, did we need a reader? We may have. Temp compare. No, we should be good. Okay, so we want to, oh, we're going to have to label this one. You know what, I can move the wiring out of there. So we're going to label this one the high, greenhouse high temp. And then, well, actually, what do we need? We'll name it the, oh yeah, that's not high temp. So greenhouse AC writer. There, that'll match our naming scheme because that's the heater writer. There's the AC writer. All right, so we want to say AC memory, and I know no device is selected. Are you not? Out to, oh, yeah, because we didn't select the device. Okay, so we need the greenhouse AC selected. Greenhouse. Come on, where are ya? Couldn't be right up at the front, could ya? Oh, really? Now we gotta go around. I do like, it is nice that it tells you what the next one is, but I get a tendency to bounce between the two and then I miss it. Furnace, shoot, wall heater, auto lathe filtration, come on. Yeah, I really wished this was a drop-down menu that you could just pick. Or, you know, have a filter so we could just put heater and then have it show up all the heaters. But, you know, that's probably something for temp compare. Okay, we're back in the greenhouse stuff. So it should, wall heater, we should come up on it here soon because it wasn't far after all of that. Vent, castle, list, okay, wall cooler. And then we want to turn it on. And then it should, uh-oh, what did we mess up? Currently flashing. Oh, the input's actually not set. So AC memory, no, compare. We want to change it to temp compare. Greenhouse, temp compare, greenhouse. temp reader to AC memory gives us, oh, we didn't name this, did we? Yeah, let's name this, because this is what we need to compare against or set to. We're going to call this the AC or high temp compare. Yeah, we'll call it greenhouse AC. Well, no, actually, let's call it greenhouse high temp compare. Because that's basically our high temperature limit. And then this is our low temperature. So we want to compare AC memory to the temp reader, and if it is greater than the temp reader, then that will kick on. So why isn't it kicking on? Compare. Change greenhouse AC memory. AC memory 320. We should be above 320. And we're at 323. Compare is greater than, if this AC memory is greater than, oh no, wait a minute. No, we want to go the other way. Yeah, we're doing it backwards because we want to do, right? Because we have temp reader is less than the logic memory. So really, this should be the other way around. We should have if the temp reader is greater than the AC memory, then we want to greenhouse furnace, which, so this is set to 320. So if it should be all connected. So, oh, are we? No, if we can see it, then we're on the same circuit. So if the temp reader is greater than the AC memory, then we want the high temp compare to turn. So yeah, wall cooler, greenhouse wall cooler turned to on. Well, it should be turning on then, because we're set to 320. Did we need another? Compare, heater on, wall heater, right? So state is 0, state is 1. Yep, so it should be turning on a 1, so why isn't it turning it on? Yeah, we're actually we're getting too high. Well, the plants aren't caring yet, so we must not be over the limit, but all right. But why aren't you connecting? Oh, wait a minute. Is there a? No, there's no plug there. Yeah, there's no plug there, but there is a plug there. Which we could just go ahead and, not that it's really going to save us any wiring, but okay. Logic reader, temp, greenhouse temp reader, 123. We're definitely over, so it should be kicking on. Water state is 0. Oh, wait a minute. We changed the name on it, didn't we? Ah, that always screws me up when it's... we don't want temperature compare. We want high temp compare. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we were pulling off the one for the heater. So, yeah, that's the thing about making sure you name everything. So AC. So now it's going to kick in the AC and run the AC, and you can see it's trying to drop it. 153. It was bouncing down to 152. And now went up to 154, 153. Yeah, we've got to up that AC. I don't think it's quite enough. And now obviously the sun's come up. I should go grab the oxygen sensor and read what it's at. But now it's automated. So if it gets above 320 degrees, it will now kick on the AC. Well, I say, okay, 320 degrees Kelvin. It will kick on the AC. And then once it's below 320, it will kick off the AC. And if it drops down to 313, which should be about, what was it, 30 degrees Celsius, then it will kick on the furnace, the heater. So it's the smallest way I can think to make it. It kind of sucks that one way. Well, we put the grating down. I'll cover it up. So, yeah, I guess not. That will get the job done. Later on, I would like to add in a... oh, yeah, we don't want the jetpack on. Oh, I wonder if that was increased. Oh, of course. Now, right after I turn it off, I fall into the hole. This will probably increase some heat, too. So that would give us... So we've got the temperature control going. And then at some point, we're going to have to do probably do a pressure. Yeah, we're getting too hot. Yeah, it's getting way too hot. So they're starting to melt. They're starting to wilt. So we can cheat it, which is basically we pump it full of cold oxygen. It'll drop the temperature down really quick. And then they shouldn't wilt. So they should recover in a minute. And if we come over here, see it's still kind of warm. But they don't have the wilting now. They still have the bar. I don't know if they recover from the bar over time. And see now the furnace, now we're down below, which we might have to check that and see. We might need to drop down to the AC kicks on a little bit earlier. Okay, we're going to want to turn that off because we don't want to drop it too low because they're not going to like that either. But it should, the temperature is pretty much going to come back up. And then this will pull the oxygen back out and it's pulling the heat out with it. So now it's just a matter of getting the AC beefed up enough that it can adequately cool the greenhouse. I mean, obviously the heater works fine. We don't have an issue there. As you can see, the temperature's slowly climbing. And, oh, yep, see it actually kicked in the heater because we're down below 140, or no, not 140, 40 degrees Celsius. As soon as we get back up to 40, it should kick back off. And of course, that's, it can be 40 over there sooner than it's 40 over here. But the good thing is that temperature sensor is kind of in between, so it should balance out. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can recover. And obviously it looks like this one's still not ready. That one seems to take a long time. The ferns kicked in pretty quick. Those didn't take very long, so we could probably harvest those, get the ferns, and then replant them. So now we're above 40 degrees Celsius. The heater's kicked off. And it's probably going to cycle a little bit because it's, it's obviously going to be a little bit chillier all the way over here from the furnace. but the temperature does equalize. Yeah, so that should work out pretty good. So we shouldn't have to worry about the temperature in here except for obviously beefing up that, which will probably be the next episode. Oh, that's nice. I didn't realize that when you pulled them up, it I just kind of figured it was going to pull the whole thing up and then it was going to give me, 2 ferns to replant. Like I said, I haven't actually messed with the really messed with the greenhouse yet. So that is nice. Because supposedly somebody was telling me that the ferns produce a lot of oxygen, which so far, well, I only had 4 plants in. We got an autosave. I only had 4 plants growing, so I wasn't noticing anything increasing though. Um, but I haven't been keeping, I wasn't just standing there in front of it. So I'm assuming if I pull this one up, is it gonna, yeah, okay. So then basically you can keep them planted and you're basically taking a clipping off of it. So that'll be good because those seem to go pretty fast because pretty much ever since I started the stream, it's been telling me that it's had 2 ready. I wanted to see if it went up any higher or not. So 40.5. So if we manually kick this in, I want to go grab the reader real quick and see. I think it should tell me the temperature on there. We can close that and we will drain this, which does give us, but that is nice now. So that's automated. Yeah, at some point later on, we've got to do, I'll probably do a regulated pressure control. And so we can have, the pressure up to 100, and then if it's above 100, we'll run and pull off the pull off of the pull the excess out. That way we can keep it at full pressure. Because as far as I know, the furnace and the cooler, I mean, they do have a minimum amount. So if the pressure drops too low, then they won't work. Oops, we gotta go the other way. Especially the cooler. The cooler will just, and I think they did do the same thing with the heater now as well. So I think you have to have at least like 6 kPa or 8 kPa right around there, or they won't even do anything. It'll just air out and basically tell you there's not enough. So I would like to set it so that we can maintain some. I mean, honestly, I like to leave 100% CO2, but we don't have enough CO2 to do that. So I don't mind leaving some oxygen in there if we can get the system set up to do it. And the pressure sensor does read gas mixture now. So we could have it set up. I mean, if we wanted to, we could set it up so that if the gas mixture is, not, and I'm sure there's a minimum amount of CO2 that we need to leave in the greenhouse, but as far as I know, you can run 100% CO2, which, well, obviously you can because that's what we're doing. It's pumped out all the oxygen. It's leaving the CO2 in there. That's only filtering out the oxygen, and then it's returning the CO2. So we know that does, that we can do that with, we can run it with a 100%, CO2 mixture, or not mixture, but, CO2 atmosphere. And I don't think we don't want to drop the temperature in there anymore. And I guess we can probably turn off the light now. So I do want to see what you know, what are we actually getting for, and then there'll still be a little bit. So did they come back up or did they? Yeah, I don't know if they recover. I'll have to keep an eye on it. Oh, am I going to be able to read this? I don't know if this should give me 45. So if I kick this on manually, and they do, it's not instantaneous. They do have to, it does like have a cooling cycle basically. So I don't know if this is going to help me any or not. I don't know if you can, I was hoping that we could read, you know, that's just reading what the current, oh, I guess what we could do is we could run out and read what the temperature, well, no, because if they're just going to read the, oh no, that is actually, so that's 0.1 less than what it is now. So it is actually putting out at a lower temperature. Not very much lower, which is obviously, you know, where part of the issue is we're not getting enough cooling, so we need to add more passive vents in. Because we were at 42.3, and then kind of 41, 42. It's bouncing around a little bit, which is kind of weird. I mean, that could be 40. It looks like it's going to 41 at times. So that could be the cooling coming off of this. So because this is running through, it's basically snaking through 3 passive vents and then coming out and returning here. And then this is pulling air in, filtering out the CO2, dumping the CO2 back into here, and then the waste on this is hooked into the, oh no, it's filtering, oh, that's a good question. Yeah, why isn't that filtering out the oxygen? We should have no oxygen in here. I didn't leave that on, did I? No. Okay. I actually just thought of, I'm going to have to double check the setup on this because I believe the way that I set this up is it's got an oxygen filter on it. It's only pulling oxygen out of here. It's dumping the oxygen back into the system and then it's returning everything else. Honestly, I should change that now that I think about it. I should set it up so that it runs through, it filters out CO2, dumps the CO2 back in here, and then dumps all the, basically the waste, which would be everything else, back into our reclaim system so that it will basically run it through and filter it all out and throw it back in the tanks. So, because we shouldn't have, I mean, it did drop a little bit, but we shouldn't have 60% nitrogen in here. And we shouldn't have any pollutants either. So I'll have to change that, but that will probably be for the next episode. Well, we definitely got plenty of, yeah, I'm not going to try to, yes, thank you for telling me that I can't plant this. 42.7, 42 point, yeah, I'll leave that on the auto. I think, yeah, the next, what we'll do is we'll wait for these mature so we can pull the plants up, get the plants back. And then because we're going to have to, I have to depressurize the room to get the, open this block up because the filter's in the wall behind here. So it's going to expose the base and we're going to basically, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Dump the CO2 in. I just don't want to run the risk of all the plants dying before they're harvestable. Obviously, we could harvest these ones again now, but I guess since I just planted these, we might as well wait until they're all And I'm interested to see because I only pulled one off. And if you guys know, leave me a comment. Um, will that jump back up to 2 again? You know, so can you leave one there, which would seem to make sense. And what I'm kind of thinking is pull 2 off. You know, it makes 2. I pull 1 off. It gives me a new plant. I leave the existing one on. I'm assuming that that one will then bump eventually back up to 2 again, and I can pull another harvest off. Or do I have to completely pull both of them off, replant both, and then, or plant both, and then, you know, so is that going to produce any more, basically, or does it just sit there? That'll be something I will need to figure out, which I'm sure if it runs for a little while, I will, but 42, we were at 42.7. I do want to add a temperature display, which maybe we'll do that next episode as well, for the greenhouse inside of here, so that we can keep an eye on what the temperature is in there, without having to run in there, you know, because eventually I'm going to have so much ferns that I'm just going to leave the ferns there and, you know, not really do anything with them, you know, right now, because we can't, food has no use. So we will, you know, the focus is going to be, you know, supposedly the ferns create a whole bunch of oxygen, which we should see if we're actually getting any. Are we getting any? Well, the problem is too is we have so much that I don't know if it's really going to read right away. 11 point, and that's still 11.26 because it's not showing me in KPA. So, and I don't really know how much. I guess, I mean, if I just sit here, is it going to go up or not? And the tank is balancing out, which is nice. Obviously, we still have no nitrogen, but we'll have to address that. Yeah, there's 5 PA in the system right now because we've dumped it all into the base. Yeah, this is the oxygen nitrogen mix to feed the base, so we can control the ratio. And obviously, we've dumped all the carbon dioxide into the base. We're still. Did I not turn the filter back on? I turned this off earlier to save. Oh, yeah, it's off. So we can turn this back on. If I can get this out of my hand so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah. So this basically just filters the base air. That's all it does is it pulls in from the base. It dumps back. There's another vent on the other side. It dumps O2, and I should put a nitrogen filter in there as well now that, oh, actually, I think I do. I do. So it's pulling oxygen and nitrogen out, dumping those. Okay, sorry. It's pulling in from the other side. Oxygen, nitrogen, dumping it back out into the base, and then any contaminants, it's throwing it into that tube system, which runs through this wall and into here and dumps back through the main filtration system, which is then going to all the storage tanks and feeding back into the system. So it should, you know, I haven't had it, we haven't had the base pressurized and, well, continuously pressurized long enough to know if that one unit is going to be enough. So I should probably after I end this episode, which will be here shortly, let it run and see if it pulls. Like, so right now we got 2% CO2, which it seems like it must have been working because we're not reading any other contaminants. And obviously I've used the jetpack. I've welded. 0.27. What were we at before? Anybody remember? I'll have to look back through. I almost want to say that that's come up a little bit, but 11.27. Let me write that down. I'll check it later on. 0.27. Okay. Yeah, so we'll have to see if that's going to be enough. Because my thought is I'm probably going to have to put more intakes. I was thinking about basically adding an intake into every room. And really, I don't need to, I don't want to dump everything into it because then, like right now, these aren't blowing anything out, which we will have to automate as well. Because there is, well, for one, since the computers can't control the mixing valves right now, the lines will explode. So we're not leaving that on. That would be a really bad idea. Because we don't need stuff exploding or any more stuff exploding. We've already had a couple episodes with that. So try to avoid that and autosave. Okay. Well, I don't know. This doesn't really seem to be... Is it even reading any lower over here? Huh. All right. Well, we'll let it run. I mean, it's going to take a while because it's one for the whole entire base. But my thought is as long as it keeps the pollutants at a manageable level, then really that's all we really need. And if we had more filter slots, because we have CO2. I mean, honestly, we could just pull CO2 in. I mean, we shouldn't have any water in the base, unless we kind of drop something. And I noticed the pressure's climbing in the base. And I don't know why. Because we're up at 81. And yeah, we're not getting any more oxygen. And this is the feed, so it's off. I mean, there's nothing in the pipe. So we pumped everything out. So, oh, well, actually, we're 7. Okay. And we're just getting weird atmospherics because it's 77 over here. And, oh, you know what? Our input's on the other side. I was thinking that maybe it was pumping the pressure over there, but it is going to circulate. I mean, obviously you can see it's pulling air into this side. Really? You can't read that pipe? Okay. Why aren't you not reading that pipe? Oh, because we're pulling everything through. The filter was actually it's filtering out faster than the pipe can fill up, basically. Which you can see the pressure's down to 49 on this side. I kind of did that because I didn't want it to, basically pump in and pull out air, basically right within the same area and basically just refilter the same air over and over again. I still think there's something wonky with these because it doesn't seem to be actually pulling anything out. There was a bug report that something about the passive vents are jamming up, basically, which is something we could try, is just pull the vent up. And I think the passive takes a wrench, doesn't it? Yeah. And see if it makes a difference. See, we've got 160 at the passive. So it's putting air out. I mean, the AC or the filter's putting out air faster than it can drain out of the vent. Oh, and our CO2 just dropped to 1. No, we're 2% over here. We're 1%. Oh, well, that's weird. Okay, so the pipe has less. Well, the pipe shouldn't have any CO2. We should just be getting oxygen and nitrogen back. So that is kind of strange. Yeah, there's something weird going on. There's something buggy going on with that. I'll have to look into that some more. I don't think it's anything. I think it's early access bug, not. I mean, it should be running fine. So, um, and we need to. So just like here where we did the temperature control, I need to set that up in here as well. And this is another reason to isolate the circuit for the greenhouse because I want to do this on a batch writer and a batch reader, or no, not a batch reader, just a batch writer, because we're gonna have to batch write to the heaters and the coolers and the rest of the base because we'll want to maintain that at about the 20 degrees Celsius. Um, so basically same setup except for instead of just a logic writer, it'll be the batch writer and um, the yeah, pretty much just the batch writer. So same setup, but just a batch writer for the cooling and a batch writer for the heating. But everything else is, and then obviously we adjust the temperature ranges. Um, but we don't want to use the batch writer with the greenhouse on it because it'll probably. I'm assuming that if we do it, it's going to try to control those as well because it doesn't care about naming, which I really kind of wish they would do something to address that so that you can name something different. The batch writer is all the same type. So every wall cooler that's on the network, it will control. Um, it would be nice if you could set a name and, or you could say batch write to GH, or something. So it'd be like greenhouse or I don't know. It would, or you know, maybe have a switch on them that you can, batch write or not, on or off. I don't know. Or I guess you just set up a separate network, which is probably more in line with the game because, it's supposed to be complex. All right. Well, this is Mickey D. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. Oh, and we are getting oxygen because we're at 1128. So very slowly, but we are gathering oxygen from the greenhouse. Obviously, as we expand the greenhouse, we'll get more oxygen. And I'm really hoping they add like some type of like 2-tier or 3-tier. Um, is it like an upgraded version so that I mean that's kind of rinky dink that we get one line per. I mean, no, I should have just made this one block high because now I've got all this wasted space that I can't put green. And obviously I can put more on the ground, but we can still put way more in there. Um, and eventually we will get all of our oxygen from the greenhouse until we have some giant catastrophe and kill off all the plants. Um, yeah, hopefully that does not happen. I think the lesson will be is always keep some seedlings to replant from. um, but yeah, so next episode will be figuring out the filtration and improving the cooling in the greenhouse. We'll do that first, and then after that, and maybe since I've already done it in the greenhouse off camera, I will do the temperature control for the base, since it would basically be doing the same thing again as what I just did. Yeah, and so we'll do the AC, figure out what's going on with that filter because it doesn't. I mean, unless it's just running so slow. I mean, it could be the same thing as going on here, as it's just running. Well, no, I think that's actually the setup. And I think our CO2 is dropping because I think we were at 5 mol, which was 2%, but it was 5 mol, and now we're at 2%, which is 4 mol. So it's just the percentage hasn't dropped, but the amount has actually dropped. It's just not enough to drop down to a 1% yet. So I will probably, and I can actually open my helmet, which obviously makes it way noisier. I will AFAC in here, or for an hour or so and see what it does, see if it keeps dropping. If so, then we'll leave it as is because that's the whole purpose of it is just to slowly filter out and not let the contaminants build up. I mean, if something just, if we blow like a flammable line or something happens, then we can purge the whole base. We can just, I shut these off and we run the intake, and it will dump everything back all the atmosphere back in the base through the main filtration system back into the tanks. And then once the base is depressurized, um, we can, repressurize it, and, the massive amount of quantities of, whatever contaminant will be removed. Yeah, this one is tied right into the main, so we can depressurize the base from this one. Um, and the thing actually works really good. It will actually make it hard. I usually have to kick in my jetpack to get out of the room. So, yeah. Yeah, so we'll let this idle and see. But, so I will see you guys in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Nice to finally get some automation going, and probably except for a few odds and end things, that will probably be the focus for probably the most of the rest of the series until new stuff is added. I mean, we still have obviously temperature control in the main base. I want to get pressure control up and going in both the greenhouse and the main base. Um, so we need to get those, the pressure controlled, and we need to get the probably I'll get the ratio controlled eventually, so we do maintain an oxygen nitrogen mix at the ratios we want once we start getting enough nitrogen to do so. Um, that's something to look at. And then we'll just, we'll keep going from there and automating as much stuff as we can. I still want to get some type of automated backup generator running, which we should, now that we've actually got that stuff running, we should check and see. And so we're down to 3 mole over here. And I'll have to see, maybe it's just because of the area or not. And we'll have to check if it's nighttime or day. But if we're night, then that's about right. If we're day, then we're losing power. We usually get at least 2 full batteries charged, or two batteries fully charged, and then we usually get some more going in the other ones. Yeah, and it does look like it's night, so we should be still good on power. And honestly, I'm kind of wasting a lot of power because, I've got everything kind of on right now, which is obviously still drawing power. Just like I actually don't need these vents running. And I do want to, that's one of the things I want to get automated, so that way, it brings the base up, the pressure, say if it's, we keep it between like 90 and 100. If it drops below or even 95, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Now, if we can get something that starts generating nitrogen, that would be nice. Because we're obviously getting oxygen, but we are not getting any nitrogen, unless we go mine. But, all right, well, again, this is Mickey D. Oh, look, see, we're at 1% and 4 mole. So it did drop, but our molecules are back up. Huh. Yeah, we'll keep an eye. Oh, you know what? It's also, I have my helmet down, so I'm breathing out CO2. Yeah, we'll leave the helmet up because we wanna test it without adding anything else to it. So, no furnaces are running. If my helmet's closed, there shouldn't be anything in the base that's adding anything to the environment. So we'll just let it run, and I'll see if it drops or not. But it is weird. It is showing a 1% at 4 mole now, so it could be the KPA jumped up a little bit over here. But all right, well, before I ramble on anymore, this is Mickey D. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I'll probably do at least one stream tomorrow night, and we'll see how far we get into probably doing a little revamp on the greenhouse filtration system. Or I need to look and see if this one doesn't filter anything, then obviously there's something bugged with the filters. So I'll check that out first, and depending on what the results are is whether or not we're going to do actually, you know what, even before that, we've got to work on the the AC for the greenhouse because it's not quite up to snuff yet. So, all right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Have a good night, and I will see you next time.